Hello everybody, my name is ProfesorRich and I'm an online English teacher, sometimes known as Teacher Rich, in the real world known as Rich Nolan. I've been teaching English since 2008. In that time, I've taught students all over the world of all ages and all levels and pretty much all requirements. I'm qualified with a certificate in English language teaching for adults from Cambridge English. I have a diploma in teaching English to speakers of other languages from Trinity College, Oxford. I have the Trinity Young Learner Extension Certificate. I also have a degree in philosophy and a master's in applied linguistics. In addition to teaching one-to-one classes online, I also make videos here on YouTube and I host a weekly conversation club. On top of that, I'm the co-host of an educational podcast here on YouTube called ELT Under the Covers, and in that podcast me and teacher Neil look at the methodologies of education and we talk to interesting people involved in education like teachers and academics and even people who make materials and train teachers. I believe that student engagement is paramount. In other words, there is no substitute for a student having a high level of interest in the learning material. I think that intrigue and fascination are the most critical element of effective learning. Just below that, three things come to mind as being extremely important elements of effective language teaching. They are authenticity, which means the language should be as real as possible, real language from the real world. Second, we have the appropriate level of materials. So the class should be at the appropriate level for the specific student. And then third, we have customization. As much as possible, lessons should be customized and catered to the specific needs of the student. I am a lexically based communicative language teacher. Lexically based? What's that? So that means that I broadly follow the lexical approach. This was an approach coined by Michael Lewis in the 1990s. And essentially, it means that I prefer to represent language as groups of words, flexible lexical chunks, rather than individual words joined by grammar. I believe that not only is this really how our minds represent language, but I think that this is supported now by a lot of the scientific literature in psycholinguistics and in language teaching. With grammar-based teaching, what we tend to find is that students think of language as being individual words which are joined by rules. And this creates a lot of problems. Most significantly, it creates a big problem with fluency. So when a student tries to speak, they have to think of every word and every rule and try to put the language together like Lego. But when we actually observe how people really use language, both effective language learners and native speakers of languages, we see that they don't do this. They don't speak like they're joining individual words. What they do is they recall groups of words together and they use them flexibly. And that is the lexical approach. It's really strange to me that the vast majority of language teachers out there today, and especially the vast majority of course books, are still running a grammar-based syllabus. We're now 30 years into the lexical approach, and I think it's about time we had a real lexical revolution in language teaching. Not only does learning groups of words or phrases allow us to recall language quicker and easier, but also it allows us to better attach the real, authentic, connected, natural pronunciation to that group of words. So if I take a chunk like I'm gonna go, I learn it as a chunk, I'm gonna go, and I learn the pronunciation like one unit. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go to the park. I'm gonna go cook. I'm gonna go study. I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'm gonna go to the university. And it's quite easy to adapt that chunk even. Where are you gonna go? When are you gonna go? Are you gonna go to the park? So I also said I'm a communicative language teacher. So what does that mean? Well, basically it means that communication is both the method and the objective of our study. My goal is to make you a better communicator, and I do that by communicating. So communicative language teaching puts less emphasis on translation and doing lots and lots of written practice exercises, 1, 2, 3, 4. Instead, communicative language teaching focuses on production of language and comprehensible input, comprehensible output. What's that? Comprehensible input means the language that you experience in the class you can understand, but also that the language is as authentic as possible. Comprehensible output means that you produce language which makes sense. That means that as language teachers, we often need to have a careful balance between authenticity and language grading. Language grading is how we as teachers use our language and try to make the language understandable for a certain level of student. And this brings me to my next point. So then, my final point. Why do I make videos on YouTube? Well, right now I feel like I'm fighting a battle. I myself have said engagement, that is interest, student interest, is the number one element of learning. And I agree with that. However, I think here on YouTube, sometimes we see that interest is the only element that some of the very popular YouTube teachers use. I think that we can combine effective language teaching and effective teaching methodologies with the high level of interest already generated by my YouTube colleagues. And in doing so, we can be more effective teachers and we can help more people learn languages and maybe even inspire people to learn and do other things as well. Because as language teachers, we are educators and we do have more of an impact on people than we might realize. Communication is such a fundamental and core piece of the human experience. I know for a fact that students can be heavily affected by their language teachers in more ways than just learning a language. So thank you very much for watching and listening to that. You can find a list of interesting vocabulary down below in the description. If you want to support my mission here, then there are some key things you can do. First of all, subscribe, like the video and watch the videos and share the videos with people who you think will genuinely be interested in them. Don't share the videos just anywhere, there's no point. But if you think that someone will really be interested in this teaching, then share it with them. The next most important thing you can do is to engage with the ProfesorRich, ProfRich community here on YouTube. Go into the comments, say hello, talk to the other people, and let's build a bit of a community here who are centered around this message. I do myself see and read all comments made on the channel, and I try to respond to appropriate ones. So, thank you very much for watching. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, share the video with someone who'd be interested in it, and I will, as always, catch you.